Hi folks, it's Sam again with Illuminated Pathways Agency, and welcome back. I'm glad that you came back to at least see the next video on the line. So we left off on the first video kind of introducing you to who I am and what it is that I want to try to accomplish with this channel. And I think today what we're going to do is just talk a little bit about kind of the big picture on how exactly does AI work. Because there is some misunderstanding out there, and it's because AI has actually been with us for so long. If you've ever worked in any type of product that does photograph manipulation, video editing manipulation, stuff like that, all these are actually forms, within them have always had forms of AI to help distinguish stuff. Now this, along with the AI for video games, such as enemies like in a third-person shooter that you would, pew pew at, all this had AI in it. Now this older form of AI is fairly easy to explain. It was either or statements. So as a player or as a user, you did A or B. Depending on whether you did A or B, then the next step would happen, and then the next step, etc. Now, when you string together thousands of these types of statements together, these if and then type statements, you can actually get some pretty intelligent feedback, if you will. Whether you're playing a video game and you up the opponent's AI difficulty, or whether you are doing something like replace an entire background with something else in Photoshop. All this dealt with some form of AI as we know it. And I say knew it because the AI that we have today, and I want to say it's been around now for, don't quote me, but I think it's been around for about 7 years. And it's only in the last couple of years that, we have all this news about it. And especially this last year, if you've been following AI at all, it seems like every week something new is coming out. This new form is based off of a couple technologies such as machine learning. Now, machine learning can be done supervised or unsupervised, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Whether someone is actually sitting there and supervising how the machine is learning and what is it learning, does through data sets. Okay, data sets basically think of as a database with information in it. If you've ever been robocalled on a computer, that's what I'm kind of talking about. That has a data set in it that has your name, has potentially your address, definitely has your phone number. That's how they reached you. And then maybe some other habits and buying habits. You especially see that with, what are those things called when you're on a website? Cookies, right? You always want to accept all cookies. But when you actually look at what it's doing, it's just basically following your backtrail in your history so that it can kind of get an idea that if you came to site XY, chances are, and it compiles this information, right? It knows that you probably came from a site called P or a site called Q. And all this stuff goes into a data set that predicts what it is that you're going to want to look at or see or do. If you've ever been on Amazon and you looked at your suggested items to purchase, that's what's happening. That's what's going on. Data sets are being used to predict what you're going to do. So these data sets, when they're fed into a particular type of model called a large language model, an LLM, some interesting magic happens. And I said this last episode about this concept that anything that we really can't describe is magic. And I'm going to try to get a graphic up right about now so that you can see what it is that I'm talking about. But basically, a modern AI works very much similar to a brain does. And so you literally have all these neural networks that are electronic and digital in nature, but are mimicking what our brains do. here's the part that might be scary for some. Even the scientists that developed this don't understand exactly how it cross-references everything. And one of the major reasons behind that is because the amount of information an LLM has compared to what you or I have in our brains, never mind even the most brilliant minds amongst us, like Albert Einstein, Stephen Hawking, even with their level of intelligence, it's still so small in scale to what these LLMs have in terms of data and information behind it. Does it know how to use all of it just yet? That could be a whole different topic for another day. But here's the type of scale that I want you to kind of consider. I'll try to remember to put the link down below for the original video where this statistic is coming from. But basically, if you did nothing but read every day from the time you were born to the time you died, you would read, like, say, 1 billion words. And out of 1 billion words, that is the information set that you as a human have accumulated in your life, along with any personal experiences. By way of comparison, even your smaller AIs is doing that times millions. Millions and billions. Let that sink in. It's learning and using information at that type of scale. And the scientists that made this, the computer engineers who made this, don't understand exactly how it works. It's almost biology in a very real sense. And I'm going to link another video down below that talks about a recent project that was done on how a line of program that is taught how to replicate literally mimics what biology and life does. It's pretty profound, to be honest with you, in my opinion. Now, that's one thing, since I just mentioned, I want to be very, very clear on. And if you walk away from this video knowing nothing else, know this. At least right now, no one is suggesting that we take any type of AI and replicate it, allow it to do self-replication. We might replicate it, we might make a copy of it, but itself can't do it. We have that as a safeguard, and there's other safeguards in place too, but that's the big one, I think. So this is why amongst the people who actually know at least a little bit about AI, we're not worried about a Skynet Terminator type situation. It's just not really possible within the scope of how AI research is being done and how AI development is going along right now. It just doesn't exist. There's a talk about the new AI models that you will see coming out later on this year. Either later on here in 2024 or early in 2025, that does what's called known as level 2. There's 5 levels of technology that we are using as milestones to get to AGI, and we're in milestone 1, very deep into it, and we're about to go into the second milestone, which is reasoning, and we are very close to that. And yeah, we'll talk more about that maybe in the next video. But for now you have at least a little idea of what I'm talking about, how we don't really understand how AI works per se, but also how does it work. And hopefully I remember to put that graphic in earlier in the video, as well as the links that I mentioned down below. So speaking of all that, the links down below, while you're down there exploring those links, make sure that you please like and subscribe to my channel. We'll be coming out with videos here again soon, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, have a great day.